Welcome back. And we have finished the stockinette portion of the body. And so for the smallest size that I'm making, I finished 5 inches. If you're knitting the larger sizes, you will have finished more. Well done. Now is a good time to check the length again. And so you can go ahead and put your project on 2 needles, larger needles, or scrap yarn so that you can fit it around you or the person that you're knitting it for and see if it is long enough or if you need to shorten it a little bit. What you're aiming for is 1 for the baby sizes up to 2 inches for the larger sizes, shorter than you want it to end up. So, because we will be doing 1 to 2 inches of ribbing at the bottom of the sweater. And the purpose of ribbing really is to kind of cinch in a little bit and make that portion of the sweater just a little bit tighter. You'll notice it's on the neckline, the sleeve cuffs, and the bottom of the body portion, and it just makes it have a little more finished, nice look and not roll because stockinette stitch will roll if it doesn't have a finishing like that. Sometimes you'll see necklines of sweaters that do that on purpose, and that's just kind of the nature of stockinette, and sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. So once we have tried it on, that's how long we want it, then we will move on to the ribbing. So for both of the lengths, we're going to change to the smaller needles and do 1 by 1 ribbing for 1 or 1.5, 2 inches, and then bind off all stitches loosely. So 1 by 1 means knit 1, purl 1. If we had a 2 by 2, it would mean knit 2, purl 2. So I'll switch my camera and show you how to begin the ribbing. And then also I'm going to show you 2 different ways to bind off the stitches. One is kind of the standard usual way, and then the other way I'm going to show you is a little bit looser and gives a little bit more stretch. So I'll see you over there. Welcome back. We have knitted our body here, we'll put it right side up, to the appropriate length. This is a lot of times kind of where I get stuck with knitting sweaters, and it takes me a while. It's a very boring part, in my opinion. It's just a very long section of knit every round. And it can be great for watching TV or something like that when you're trying to kind of pay attention to the TV and you don't have to worry too much about the knitting, but especially with adult size sweaters, this can be a very long slog. So congratulations with making it through. So I'm going to knit the very last stitch here. I always stop 1 stitch before the marker whenever I'm going to set my project down so that I don't lose the marker. So we are now going to switch to the smaller needles and start our knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. If it's too much to do both things at the same time for you, for a beginner, that definitely can be a little overwhelming. It's fine to just knit 1 round to get all the stitches onto the smaller needle before doing your ribbing. That won't cause any problems at all. Remember, sweaters are squishy. But I am going to show you, just to kind of shorten the process here, how to do both at the same time. So we're just going to have our smaller needles on our right hand with our working needle with our working yarn, and we're just going to simply start to knit, purl, We did this on our neck ribbing. We've done this with a couple of our other projects. So shouldn't be too much of a challenge. So once I get this all the way around, I will add the marker back at the beginning of the round, and then I will be doing the ribbing for however long the pattern said. I think for these baby sizes, it's 1 inch. And then meet me back here once you have finished your ribbing, and I will show you how to bind off in the ribbing sequence and how to do that so that it's nice and stretchy and not real tight, so that when you're putting it on or you're putting it on someone else, it's not too tight. Welcome back. We have finished our ribbing at the bottom and are ready to cast off. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways to cast off the bottom of your sweater body. One is simpler. It will do the job absolutely fine. It is going to be a little bit tighter, but I have done this on so many sweaters for myself, for others, and it's not noticeable when you're wearing it. The second one I'm going to show you is a little bit looser, a little bit more stretchy, and just a little bit more complicated. There's just a couple more steps, but still fairly easy if you want to give it a go. Okay, first way, I am at the beginning of my round. I just removed my marker. So the first way, and the bit more simple way, is we will knit the knit stitches, purl the purl stitches throughout. I'm going to complete 2 stitches. So I'm going to knit 1, purl 1. Then I will take my left needle, put it underneath the knit stitch that I just did, and pull that stitch up and over the purl stitch and off. So this is the one that's remaining, is the purl stitch I just did. So then I'm going to complete another stitch. This was a knit stitch all the way up, so I will knit it. Take my left needle, put it under that purl stitch, pull it up and over, and what remains is the knit stitch that I just finished. I'm going to do a few more iterations of this, and then I will show you the second way. Purl. Take the left needle, grab that stitch, up and over, and what remains is the stitch I just finished. So this is a knit. One way, so you're not having to try to remember, is see these V's? It's like V, V, V. That's going to be a knit stitch. See these bumps? Bump, bump, bump. That'll be a purl stitch when we get there. So I have 1 stitch. If we don't count all these ones we're going to do later, I have 1 stitch remaining. Knit, pull that first one up and over, purl. Pull the first one up and over. So you'll just continue all the way around until you're left with 1 remaining stitch, and come back in a flash and I'll show you what to do with that one. Today I'm going to show a more stretchy bind off for the bottom of a sweater. It's a little more intense than your just regular bind off, but it's still not too difficult. So this is my beginning of round. I just removed my beginning of round marker. I'm going to knit. This is a 1x1 knit purl ribbing. I'm going to knit 1, and then normally I would bring my yarn through to do this purl stitch for my next stitch, but instead of just bringing it through, I'm going to go all the way around one time. That's a yarn over. And then I'm going to purl my purl stitch. So these are the other end. So I'm ending up with 3 stitches on the needle. I'm going to take my left hand needle, go in under that middle stitch, that's the yarn over that I just did, pull it up and over the purl that I just did, then come back again with my left needle, grab the knit stitch that I just did, and go up and over the purl stitch. Then I'm going to just do a regular knit. Again, take my left needle, grab that purl stitch that I did, and go up and over with that. I'm ready for a purl, so I'm going to do a yarn over, purl the stitch, take the middle stitch up and over. We're repeating now. I'm just showing you again. And then the knit stitch goes up and over. We've completed 2 rounds now. I'm going to show you one more time. So we're going to knit the knit stitch, and how we remember if this is a knit or a purl, the knit stitches have these little V's. It's going to continue right on up from your body. Purl stitches are going to look different from the body. They've got bumps. Bump, bump, bump. So I completed a knit stitch. Just going to bring that purl right on up and over. Ready for a purl. This is what we would do if we were just going to purl, but we're going to go around the right needle again to create a yarn over. Purl the purl stitch. Bring the middle stitch up and over, making sure you keep this purl stitch on the needle. Don't let it go. And the knit goes up and over. We're going to continue that all the way around, and it's going to give a nice stretchy bottom cast off to the sweater. All right, you did it. Well done, well done. We are at the end of our row, and whether you did kind of the regular bind off or the more stretchy bind off, we're down to one last stitch. We're gonna need our tapestry needle and some scissors at this point. We're going to measure off about 12 inches. Exact isn't super important, but we want to have enough that we can thread our needle I'm going to bring it through the last stitch on my knitting needle. Pull my knitting needle out, pull this all the way through, and then we're going to go ahead and weave this in since we already have it on the needle. If you look here, you'll see, oh, Callista, this is taller over here than down here. It is. So what we're going to do to kind of minimize that is I'm going to take my needle through each one of these loops all the way down the ribbing, pull it through, give it a little tug. We're not making this super tight, but we do want to have a little tug, and that helped a lot. There is still a little bit of difference there. Once we wash this and get it all finished, it's really going to be very minimal. This is also along the side of your sweater, so it's not going to be really obvious. So then I'm just going to do like I always do to weave in ends. Go back and forth a couple of times, changing directions, following the pattern that I've established with my knitting. Snip close. And there we go. we are, oh, there's that loose end from my neckline, which we will do later. And we have finished all but the sleeves. Starting to look very sweater-like. All right, meet us over at the next video where we will start our sleeves.